Hello everyone, and welcome to the Lakewood Labradoodles teaching time as you get ready to take your puppy home to its forever home. I just want to go over things that you are going to have questions about, things that are going to come up as you take your baby home. So to prepare you, you are going to receive a bag, and the bag is going to have in it some things. First thing is going to be a blanket, just a little receiving blanket, but this blanket has been rubbed on your baby's siblings and the kids that he's playing with at that point in time so that it has all their smells on it. Now my tip about that would be to make sure that when you are on your drive home or your flight home that you don't give them that blanket then, because occasionally they can become car sick and I don't want them to throw up on that and then you have to wash it and then you lose all the benefit of it because the benefit is in the smells. So I would save that until you get home. Tuck it in a crate with your baby at night, or just as they have their playtime and whatever. You can have it for whatever use you want to have it, but I don't want you to lose the benefit of it in the first hour on your trip. So that'll be a great thing. Then the second thing is the food. You will get a quart-sized Ziploc bag of the food that we love and recommend, which is the Life's Abundance, and we give the puppy food. For the first year of your puppy's life, you're gonna wanna give them the puppy food. And if it's a giant dog, you're gonna wanna maybe give it till closer to 18 months. If it's a really tiny mini, you can quit sooner, like 9 months, something like that, and your vet can help you make those decisions. But basically, just default setting is give them the puppy food for a year, and then you're going to advance to the all life stage, and that is also available from Life's Abundance. You will save a little bit, and it's very convenient because they will ship it direct to your door. And we love this company because they have never had a recall. They're a fabulous food company. The food's designed by a holistic vet, so it has everything in it that you're going to need. It's also very densely packed in full of nutrients with not many fillers at all. So basically it's going to feel like they're eating less than they would of a cheaper brand that has more fillers. So please do not worry about that. And while we're on the topic, I want to let you know, please do not worry if they don't eat much during the first 3 to 4 days home, especially the first 2. They are just going through a huge adjustment phase and really just need those few days to get settled. So don't worry about that at all. All right? And from there, let's go on to how to feed them. You are going to offer food to them 2 times a day. They will be fine with you feeding them 2 times a day. You're gonna give them breakfast and dinner. We usually give them their dinner by about 5 o'clock in the afternoons. You can certainly move it later, but just to let you know, and their breakfast is served around 9 here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna give them plenty of food at first. And it's more about the dog than it is the amount of food. I see way more dogs come back to me with they're too thin, not too fat. During that first year, they burn a lot of calories. So please do not worry about overfeeding them during that first 9 months to a year. You can take it up with your vet after that and watch and keep an eye on things, but basically let them eat all they want during that time because they're going to need lots of calories. So if they're eating so much that they're throwing up, that's the only time that would be too much. But if they're still hungry after you've fed them and they're still looking for more, please give them more. So you're just gonna watch that and see how your dog does. But those 2 times a day, so leave it down maybe 20, 30 minutes at the most and then pick it up. The reason I ask you to pick it up is for your benefit. It basically is gonna help you so much with your potty training. You're going to see that your dog's bowels will move within, I usually say 15 minutes, but every dog is different. So maybe yours is 45 minutes, but the point is the same. It's going to move soon, and that's going to help you with your potty training. So definitely be aware of that. I am also a huge fan of raw feeding, but I do realize that most of my people don't want to do that because it's expensive. So even if you don't want to do raw feeding, what we do is we supplement with raw food. And I've done the research for you. I have found what I feel like is the best combination of a 5-star quality rated food that comes highly recommended, but that is also easily available and the most cost-effective brand. So what I recommend is Instinct, and I didn't bring it here because I'm upstairs and I didn't have the bag because it's obviously frozen. So we keep it in the freezer, but it's called Instinct variety, and we get, I think it comes in little bites and it comes in small patties, and it's available in the freezer at like Pet Supermarket and PetSmart and places like that, so that even small towns have access to that with, you know, great ease. And we recommend that you would use like the beef or really something other than chicken if you can. The prices are not very different at all, and chicken tends to be an inflammatory, so if you'll stay away from the chicken and do the beef or the duck or the rabbit or something like that, that is a great thing and very, very good for them. The 5-star rated food, so it has the 10% ground bone in it, which is very important. You can't just go to Target and buy their brand. Their brand does not have that. So, you know, if you're gonna do something on your own, it's very important that you get the full balanced diet, which is why I recommend the Instinct, because that's what it has, is the full balanced diet with all the antioxidants and everything in it, so you can feel good about it. So anyway, just wanted to recommend that to you. Then we'll go on to crates. If you have a medium dog or smaller, I recommend a 36-inch crate is what you get, but basically you're gonna need to use the divider. And their crate training time is being done in crates when they're individual in them that are like 18 by 12 inches. So if you'll think in terms of limiting their size to about 18 by 12 inches, you know, kind of do the math in your head, you don't need any more than that. So don't leave it too big at first, because you don't want to leave them a place where they can have their little potty area and their snuggle area. The point is to keep it small. And the reason I say that is because we tend to think it's mean to limit their space, but I want you to know that it is okay and that is good for them. And as you are doing your crate training, the thing I want to encourage you is to go ahead and start as soon as you get your puppy home, doing at least small increments during the day of crate time. You want to put them in there and give them a high value treat. And I have like a few examples. So one is a Kong. This is a Kong, and as you can see, there's a big hole in one end and a small hole in the other. And you can fill this with peanut butter or cream cheese and put it in the freezer. The thing about putting it in the freezer is it feels good to their teeth as they're teething. That cold feels great, and they love the treat, and that'll give them something yummy to work on, and it's wonderful. It does not have to be frozen, but that's a nice way to just prepare a few, stick them in Ziplocs in the freezer, and you have them ready to go. And that gives them a high value treat. They also have Kong spray that you can fill it with. I am not speaking as to the health of that spray, but that is an option. The one thing you do want to be careful with peanut butter, now they have started making peanut butter that has xylitol in it, and xylitol is a poison to dogs and it will kill them. So, and it doesn't take very much. So just check your peanut butter and make sure they're not putting xylitol in it, which is a good reminder to keep gum out of your house as well, because if the dog grabs a piece of gum that has fallen out of someone's mouth, it can literally be lethal, not very much of it. So just be very aware of that. Then some other high value treats. These are bully sticks, okay? I won't even tell you what bully sticks are, but they're a great hit with the dogs. And this one doesn't, this brand does not tend to stink, because they do tend to stink. So this one brand tends to be not so stinky, okay? So I just wanted to show you those. So you can give them a bully stick, which is a great thing. You can also give them femur bones to chew on in their crate, and you can, same thing, keep those refrigerated or frozen and give that to them, and that's a very high value treat. But I would ask you not to take your puppy out until they're quiet. You do not want to reinforce crying by taking them out when they cry. Please make sure you get as quiet as possible, and then, you know, wait for a moment when they're quiet and then take them out, so that you're reinforcing them being quiet and happy in their crate. And hold on, it will work. Even if it's a rocky couple first days, they will be fine. So stick to your guns, and that will do great. Another thing you can do for them as a treat in their crate is take either special washcloths that are different that you can recognize, or some old washcloths, wet them, wring them out, wring all the water out of them, roll them up like an egg roll, and stick them in the freezer. And those, you know, they can't hurt them. It feels great to their teeth. They love chewing on them, you know, and it doesn't hurt a thing. So those are another treat that's a fun thing to put in there. But whatever those treats are that you use in your crate, make sure those are special to the crate, that they only get those special treats when they're in the crate. So that makes the crate fun. So definitely want you to introduce them and not take them out when crying. And another, like the best tip ever, okay, this is just free and fun. One of the best things you can do for them is give them raw, either turkey necks or chicken necks. And the reason I throw that in there is because the chicken necks are quite a bit smaller than the turkey necks. The turkey necks are large, but the chicken necks are much smaller. And you can buy those at a meat market. Freeze them, put them in Ziploc bags or wrap them, whatever. Just freeze them somehow, but try not to let them all get melted into a block and then freeze them. That's not good. So if they do get all defrosted, put them in individual Ziplocs or something like that. And those are the best treats. Number one, they are very inexpensive, which is just wonderful. Number two, they are like the best mental stimulation. They're like doing crossword puzzles or therapy. You know, it's wonderful for the dogs. Great mental stimulation. But probably the best thing about it is that it is like flossing your dog's teeth, those bones in there. Please make sure they're raw. Do not cook them. Cooked poultry bones are horribly dangerous for dogs, but raw is how God made them to eat them, and they are fine. Raw bones are fine. They are good for them. They floss their teeth. They keep their gums healthy. They keep their breath fresh. So these, you know, it puts off, hopefully you won't have to have dentals if you take good care of their teeth by doing this. So it is a wonderful boon. They're getting lots of good animal protein and fat that's great for their brains. And one of the hidden benefits is when they eat that bone acts like fiber to them, and as it works its way through their system, it keeps the anal glands emptied out, which is a great thing. So, all right, now we're gonna go work on our order of events for potty training. It's really about the order of events, okay? Not so much how long you do any one thing, because the idea is to start narrow and then broaden out as you get older and more successful. As the puppy gets older and more successful, then your times will get longer. As long as you keep the order of events the same, you're going to be doing great. So the first thing, and I'm going to use the word confinement time, and that can be either in your playpen or in your crate, as long as they're, you know, confined in one way or the other. I love to use a playpen because I think we do not like the idea of putting a puppy in a crate or a dog too much. And I understand that. We're compassionate. It feels mean. It's not as mean as it seems, and they need lots of confinement time when they're puppies. So I'm going to give you permission right away to please keep them in either the crate or the playpen whenever your eyes are not on them. So I'll just call it confinement time. But the idea is anytime you take them out of confinement time, you're going to need to take them straight outside and let them go potty. Now, you have to see them go potty, go tinkle, or it doesn't count. If they don't go pee-pee, they have to go right back in confinement time, okay? But if they do, they go pee-pee, then they've earned free time. So when they come in, free time looks like this. Your eyes are on them. You're interacting with them. You're playing with them. You're holding them. You're focused, your attention on them. If you need to wash dishes or do work on your computer or watch TV or cook dinner or anything, that's fine. Just put them back in confinement time. They need to go back in the playpen. That's why I like the playpen though, is because you can drag that with you into the family room where you're watching TV, into the kitchen where you're cooking dinner, by your desk where you're working. And if you get a metal playpen, you know, that will work really well for that. They fold up into like an accordion fold up, and they're easy to put away. They work really well. You want to get a metal one, and you want to make sure the door goes through to the top. Some of the plastic ones look very appealing, but they have like a little hobbit door that doesn't go through to the top, which means that unless you're willing to crawl through the hobbit door or climb over the top, if your dog doesn't come to you, they can play cat and mouse with you, and that's not very fun. So I just think for safety, it's better to do those metal ones, and they really are so practical and so easy, and I love them. So definitely want to do that. And then I want to tell you that sleeping through the night. I do not want them to get the best of you, okay? Because they will hoodwink you very quickly because they love to go out at night. That's fun for them, but they can nap all day and typically you can't. So the idea is they would love to keep getting you up in the middle of the night for a break and a playtime and whatever, but you do not need to get up with them. They should be able to make it 6 hours at a stretch within a day or two of coming home, okay? So don't let them keep pulling your leg for all this long time. You know, within a week or so, you should be getting at least 6 hours of unbroken sleep. So if they wake you up when they get home before 2 in the morning, I would say you don't need to take them out. Just let them cry, you know, and get through it. And this won't last long, I would encourage you. But if it's after 2 a.m., then maybe, yes, get up and take them out. But be aware that when you get up with them in the middle of the night, it definitely is a quiet time. No talking at all. There's no puppy celebration. There's no rejoicing. There's no, oh, you're so cute. There's no talking. It's completely silent because the message you're sending to them is, okay, this is all business. This is not a playtime. We're gonna go outside, take care of business, get right back in our crate, and go right back to bed. And emergency only, no potty party, no fun times. We do all those fun things during the day, but not in the middle of the night for your benefit, to get them sleeping through the night faster. You should have received also in your bag a grooming card. The grooming card is something that I put together with my groomer that addresses the whole body of the dog and how each part is to be cut. And on the back, the instructions are all written very clearly in groomer speak. So some things to be aware of as you're choosing a groomer. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to groom a doodle properly. So please don't be looking for the cheapest place. Don't be looking for, you know, someone, you're not gonna find them. You need to know that they earn their money when they're grooming a doodle. However, the most important thing to look for is someone who's teachable and willing to do the cut on the card. A well-groomed doodle is stunning. They are drop dead gorgeous, but a poorly groomed doodle is not. They are ugly. They do not look good. So really, you bought this beautiful dog. I know you want him to be beautiful, so I want you to know it's all about the haircut. So you take the grooming card in and, you know, basically try to find someone who's willing to do it. And just because they say they've cut doodles before and they know it all does not mean they do. They may, but they may not. The proof is in the pudding. So be willing to go to another groomer until you find someone who's willing to do the right cut. The cut on this card is not something I made up. It is the official Labradoodle cut. So you can know that. And really, you're doing a service to all the groomers as you teach them how to do the official Labradoodle cut, recognized by all the clubs as the cut. The one thing I see people do wrong way too much, groomers, is they leave the long ears. They leave long spaniel ears. The ears need to be cut very short, right at the ear leather, okay, right at it. Not half an inch beyond the ear leather. If you feel, you shouldn't feel a half an inch of hair beyond the leather. Maybe a quarter an inch, that's it, okay, not much. And then it's gonna be an angle from the ears straight down to the beard, and you do need to leave a little bit of beard. If they don't have a beard, and I think probably the reason people have their beard cut off is because they don't want their beard to get wet and drippy and maybe stinky, but I have an answer for that. But if with no beard, they look like they have had all their teeth pulled and they're just smacking their gums. Okay, they look really weird. It's not a good look. So you definitely want to leave a little bit of a beard. Then the other thing, it's all in the angles, is the triangle cut right here. You definitely want the triangle over the eyes. Now it can be shorter or it can be longer, but this is a triangle here. So you don't want this, and you certainly don't want it all cut off short. And you don't want the top to be cut short and sticking up. You definitely want a part and there to be a little bit of length on the head in order to be the right look. That's what it needs, okay? And then the body can be cut with clippers to 1 inch, but the body is the only thing that can be cut with clippers and have the dog look right, okay? They need to hand scissor the head, the tail, and the legs, okay? So you need to make sure you tell them that when you go in. I need the dog to be scissored on its head, its tail, and its legs. The legs should look like cylinders or tree trunks going straight down. There should be no toenails showing. It shouldn't be cut in, at an angle like poodle feet. It should go literally straight down to the ground so that you do not see any toenails showing. And that is the glorious, beautiful, fluffy Labradoodle look. If they cut them with clippers, it'll, how the leg of a dog looks like that? That's how it'll look. If they cut them nice and long with those teddy bear legs, you won't see that angle so much. It'll all be a very softened out. So the body should be 1 inch. The legs are actually going to be 2 inches. Now you can cut that down a little bit and maybe make the body a little shorter than 1 inch and the leg a little shorter than 2 inches. But you still get the idea. The legs need to be longer. And the tail needs to be left in that full feathery brush, that beautiful, do not let them shave or cut the tail real short. It needs to be full, brushy, beautiful. And the head as well. And even if you like your dog cut a lot shorter, please at least leave the head cut right so that it looks cute in the face. That is very, very important. Now, another thing about grooming to be aware of, I would start your grooming pretty early on, just to go in and have an experience with the groomer while they're still in that formative stage. So maybe around 10 or 12 weeks old, let them have their first mini groom. It's not much, just going in for a bath, a blowout, and just a little trim around the eyes, and that works really well. I also want you to be aware that the Labradoodles go through a molt. It's usually between 9 and 12 months of age. And people frequently ask me, how will I know? You will know, because when they're puppies, they are not going to mat at all. Their puppy coat won't mat. But when it falls out, which is between 9 and 12 months old, that is when, because they don't shed, it will mat. So it's not falling out, and the new coat is growing in, and it becomes a mat. And the first thing you'll realize is, oh my gosh, my doodle has a mat. And the next day there are 3. And you wake up the next day and there are 5. And the next day there are 10. So by the time you get to 5, please remember what I'm telling you now. You take them in, and just this one time, it's the only time in their life it ever happens, you need to get them cut short. Not their head, not their tail. You can keep up with that. I used to think that people could keep up with the molt, but I was wrong. I have not met the person, including myself, who can keep up with that molt. But if you take them in before it gets desperate, then you can avoid having them shaved, because they look terrible when they're shaved. And also, if your groomer shaves your dog and it gets too close to the skin, it really can mess up their coat forever. It can damage the follicle and mess up how the coat comes back in forever. So make sure you get them in there, soon after you start finding these mats, and explain to them that the body and the legs need to be cut to 1/2 an inch long from the body. Okay, not cut 1/2 an inch off, cut to a length of 1/2 of an inch all over their body and legs. And then you are going to be fine, and they don't look terrible. It's so much better than shaving, and it works really, really well. So the other thing I want to say is on the beard, not the beard, the muzzle. The muzzle needs to be left one length and blunt cut. If they use scissors and feather that or thin it at all, it can mess up the beard, the muzzle, so that it will not ever come back in right. And then you'll have a dog with a thin muzzle, which looks bad. One more thing, to preserve the beauty of your dog, you always need to tell them, please blunt cut the muzzle. Let it be one length, blunt cut. Okay, no thinning, no layers. You don't want it layered. You want it one length, blunt cut. And I think that's everything with the grooming. So if you need another grooming card, I'm going to put that in the files section of our Lakewood Labradoodles family group on Facebook, which please join. Lakewood Labradoodles, plural, family, singular, group. Okay, so ask for membership and make sure that you tell them, yes, that's me. Tell me, yes, I do own a Lakewood Labradoodle. And I will go ahead and approve you for that if you're not already a member. So, all right. Remember how I told you there was a trick that we could avoid the dripping of the beard everywhere? The trick is to get the world's most amazing water bowl called a slopper stopper, S-L-O-P-P-E-R, slopper stopper. And you can get it on slopperstopper.com, and I'll send it to you free shipping. And it's the best $50 you'll spend. And get the medium. The medium works for every dog, puppies all the way up to giant dogs. The only difference in the sizes is the opening of the hole. It's a gallon size silver water bowl, and it's just the small has a small opening, and the bigger sizes have a bigger opening. So you can do whatever you want, but the medium works really well for everybody. That will work. It takes about a week to break it in to get it to work perfectly, and you do have to do it according to the directions. If you don't use it properly, it doesn't work. So make sure that you're reading the directions and doing it properly. If you just pour water in there, it's just like a regular bowl, and it's not going to help you at all. So you have to do it the way it's meant to do, but it is a lifesaver, and it's wonderful. So another thing that I am so excited about is Baxter and Bella. It is an online puppy school, and I could not be more excited about it. I have had a dream the whole time I've been breeding these beautiful dogs to be able to help you guys out. I feel like in the past I've always taken the dog, hand it to you, and go, best of luck. Well, when you need me is when you take the dog home and I'm not there anymore. So now I have this tool. I had dreamed of being able to go through and record training, which I'm not a trainer, so I wanted to find a trainer to do this, and then be able to let you watch the training at home and be able to equip you for what's to come. Well, I have found it. It looks like Baxter and Bella had thought ahead of me and done this, and it's Scott and Amy Jensen, and they train therapy dogs and service dogs, and they're amazing. Amy is a fabulous trainer, and basically she has done that, just that. She went through, she recorded every single module, starting with preparing for your dog and how to prepare. So I know some of you preparers are going to be very excited about that. And then when you get them home, that you usually cannot sign up for training classes for your puppy until they have all of their shots, which puts it after they're 4 months old. Well, you need it before then. And this is so wonderful to be able to watch all these pre-recorded modules of training in your home, on your schedule, which works out beautifully. But that's not all you get. You also, I feel like a Ginsu ad commercial here, Ginsu knives, but basically they have included so many things. One thing, you can do live puppy classes where you tune into live classes that they're doing online, also from the safety of your home, so you don't have to be 4 months old and fully vaccinated. You can go ahead early, because the dogs are so smart. They need a job, they need to learn, they want to please, and this is such an incredible opportunity. But also, she offers, I cannot even believe this, she offers office hours so that you can schedule a one-on-one video appointment with Amy anytime you want, free of charge. All this is included in the cost, and ask her your questions, and she can watch you with the dog and help you figure out whatever problems you're struggling with, all included in the price. You also get emails, there's a podcast, there's an online community where you can share, and they'll answer your questions in there, and you can communicate with other people who are also going through the same issues and the same types of things that you're going through. So you have access to all of that, and also anything else they ever add will be included included for you, lifetime. You're grandfathered into anything. And the wonderful thing is, I cannot even believe they're making it available for the price they are, but it's incredibly inexpensive. And if you use the code Lakewood, you get 25% off. So I cannot recommend it highly enough. And then if you complete all of those modules, she is actually certified to give your dog the Canine Good Citizen Award. And so your dog will be a Canine Good Citizen if you finish all those modules, and then just send in a little video of him doing some certain requirements. So what an incredible blessing. I encourage you so strongly to take advantage of that. BaxterandBella.com. I wanted to share with you about the brush that works so wonderfully on our Doodles. It's the Christensen, okay, and it's like Chris Tensen, I think is how it's spelled, and it's the Coral large brush, and I get it on Amazon. I think you could probably get it on Chris Christensen's website, but other than that, it's expensive and it's well worth it. And it just has so many wonderful bristles in there. It works really, really well. It gets mats out. It's an incredible tool. So this is it. This is what it looks like, and it has to be the coral, okay, because that's something to do with the number of pins they have in this slicker brush. It's a far superior slicker brush. When you are brushing your dog, you need to start brushing your dog when it's a puppy, okay? It will not need to be brushed. You need to brush it anyway, because this is when you teach it that this is what we do and this is a good thing, okay? So just start. You can do 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day, it's super easy to stay caught up and keep your dog's coat looking beautiful. If you let it get matted, it's not good, and they're gonna shave it, and then you risk all those problems we talked about before. You also need a steel comb like this, a stainless steel comb. So what you do is you're gonna brush your dog with the brush, then you're going to take this comb and you're going to comb through behind where you've been brushing. And I'm just gonna use myself as an example, but you have to go all the way through to the skin. So I'm touching my scalp there, okay? And you see how smooth that goes through? It doesn't snag in my hair. That's what it has to do in your dog's hair as well. If you go through and it stops or it snags, or you hear that as it's snagging and going through your puppy's coat, that is your wake-up call. That is your note that you are not done. You need to keep brushing, okay? You need to keep brushing until this comb goes through like hot butter. Okay, it has to go through all the way to the skin. So all the way to the skin. It doesn't do the dog any good if you brush the top of its skin, top of its hair, and it looks beautiful. It'll look gorgeous. But if you don't get all the way through to the skin, it will mat underneath there. It will pelt. They can get skin infections, hot spots. It's absolutely terrible. So you have to do that. And then, of course, if you take them to the groomer, they're going to shave them and you're going to cry because your dog looks so bad. And groomers don't have much tolerance for us if we don't take care of these dogs. We really have a responsibility to do our part. Now, I do like to say this. There is no moral value associated. If you're not a good brusher, that's okay. But just own it and make sure somebody brushes your dog well, okay? You need to get, you can pay somebody to come brush your dog, a kid, it doesn't matter who it is, or take them to the groomer every 2 weeks and just have them brushed out really, really well, okay? One way or the other, the dog's coat has got to be brushed all the way through, and it's very important. And what we run into more than anything else is they brush really well on the top of the back and think you're done, and they've left, you know, the close part by the skin, or the areas where they get mats are not the back. It's the armpits, and remember they have 4 armpits, okay? It's the legs where they get dew and their legs get wet when they're walking in the mornings, you know, in the dew of the grass, or they go like that and get that wet. That is an area that needs to be brushed, and it's not bad if you keep up with it, but it will get matted if you don't. They also get mats around the base of their tail and around their booty. Okay, same reason, they go like that or whatever, you know, that's just an area where it gets wet from sitting in the grass. And under their ears is another area where they will get matted if you're not careful. So you have to be making sure in the beard. Let me not forget to tell you that you do have to brush the face. I've had people say, wow, I didn't know I need to brush the face. But there's hair there, and if there's hair there, it has to be brushed, and it has to be brushed to the skin. So same thing, just keep after it. So their beard does, their muzzle and beard gets some mats in it if it's never brushed. So just make sure you're brushing or combing or both in those areas to make sure you're getting them all covered. Next thing you're gonna get in your bag is your health certificate. Now, your baby was taken to the vet, to my reproductive vet, at 7 weeks old. They get the health certificate, which shows exactly which shots they've had, immunizations. So you're definitely gonna wanna take this with you when you go to your vet. Please don't forget it. And also, be aware when you go that my recommendation is that you please do not let them have more than 1 shot each time you go, and that you give them 3 weeks in between each shot. I am very pro-vaccination. I'm all about you getting their vaccinations. But I do just want you to remember that their little immune systems can get overwhelmed very easily when you're giving them things that they have to deal with and overcome. So I just want you to space them out by 3 weeks. So their vaccination will be at 7 weeks, and there's a little place on the health certificate that says date of administration. Use that date of administration, look at a calendar, and don't make your appointment until 3 weeks from then for the next vaccine. You can definitely take them in for a health checkup, but not for another vaccination until 3 weeks after that, if you will honor my request. And then when you do take them in, make sure it's just one shot. It's not, a lepto and a rabies or something like that. Okay, that's 2 shots. The other thing to be aware of is, please remember that it's also medication to give them heartworm or flea and tick medication. So if you're going to give them a shot that day, at least give them a few days in between before you give them flea and tick medication and heartworm medication. Okay, just try to space them out, because I don't want your puppy to be the one who gets sick from their little immune system getting overwhelmed. And I know you have so much time and love and money invested in these puppies. We just really want to take good care of them, and that is how you can help doing that. So I think that's the most important things about that. The next thing you will see in your bag is the bill of sale and health guarantee, into which is also built in your spay and neuter contract. So page 1 is personal information that you are going to fill out. It just saves us time letting you fill in your own name and address and phone number. So that's on page 1. Page 2, the big thing to be aware of that I put in that you're going to want to notice is that I will void your health guarantee if you give them Trifexis or Comfortis. Okay, those are just 2 of the newfangled fancy flea and tick medications. But it says right on the box they cause seizures and death in dogs, and many vets hand them to you with your welcome to our vet clinic. Here's your puppy pack, and here's your free trial of Trifexis or Comfortis. And I would beg you not to give that to them. I just know too many people I have seen too many times when those dogs either have a ruined personality after that, or they're having seizures or some other horrible thing and they die. So your dog may do fine with it, and it may not be the first time they get it that they react to it either, by the way. So I would just encourage you not to give them any of those kind of things. I understand that they do need a flea and tick medication. I understand it's a necessary evil. I'm never going to be excited about it because it is an insecticide. So just think of it as if it were your child. Would you want them to drink insecticide or chew a block of insecticide? So since we do have to use it, what I try to do is I only recommend Revolution. Even if the Revolution comes in an oral form, it's an old, tried and true, been through its paces and come out okay and does really well. It's recommended as safe for breeding dogs, which means it's safe for all of our dogs, as safe as any of that stuff can be. And if you don't want to use Revolution, stick to something that is topical, which is just applied to their skin, as opposed to something that they ingest. So that's what I would ask you, to stick to Revolution or something topical. So page 3 is your built-in spay and neuter contract. And I just want to give you the heads up that spay and neuter, and when it's done, has become one of those hot button issues. Like, are eggs good for you or bad for you? It depends on who you talk to. A lot of the vets, you say, well, we require our dogs to be spayed and neutered by 6 months. And they say, fine, no problem. But a lot of them have issue with that. But the problem is there is no one opinion. The opinions are all over the board. So they may say, oh no, I won't do it by 6 months. I will only do it and fill in the blank. It can be anything. It can be 9 months, 12 months, 15 months, 2 years, after their first heat, never, it can be anything. So I'm gonna ask you 2 things. First of all, maybe this is 3 things. If you cannot be okay with this, please do not take your dog home. Please go to a different breeder and buy a dog from them, because it is my organization, the Australian Labradoodle Club of America, that protects you, makes sure that I'm doing all my health testing and breeding up to standard, that my dogs are healthy, and that I am an ethical breeder in every way, and they protect you, who requires this to be done, to protect us so that we don't get backyard breeders who are breeding disease-ridden dogs and all kinds of terrible things going on. So they're requiring it, so it's not me. I don't even get an opinion in this case. It has to be done by 6 months old, and there really are no exceptions unless it's some major health thing. So I need you to do it. So what I don't want you to do, though, is argue with your vet. Please don't argue with your vet and say, oh, but my breeder says, if he doesn't want to do it, that's fine. And then the second thing that I would ask you not to do is send me a letter from your vet, because I have gotten plenty of letters from vets, but my organization still requires it. So it's not helping to send me the letter. What I would ask you to do is just very quietly go somewhere else, call on the phone, find a vet that's a good vet that will do it at 6 months, get it taken care of, and then very quietly go back to your vet and just, you don't need to raise a stink or an uproar or anything. And, there are plenty of vets who are happy to do it, good vets at 6 months. So that's how I'll address that. So let me know if you have any cause for concern on that at all. Then on page 4, I will need you to sign page 3, by the way. And then page 4 is where you sign the whole bill of sale, and health guarantee just basically says, I'll be there for the life of the dog and you paid me the full amount. So that is the bill of sale and health guarantee. One of the most important things I can tell you, let's see, maybe it's the most important thing I can tell you, is that socializing your dog is the #1 best thing you can possibly do to make your dog an incredible dog. I can breed an incredible dog for you and give it to you. And if you bubble wrap that dog and stay inside your house where you're the only people it interacts with, it will not be a great dog. I mean, it may be a great dog inside your house, but you're not going to be able to take it out. And if somebody else has to come in, it's really, really sad. The best thing you can do is to take the dog and socialize it and let it interact with as many different places, as many different people, as many different sounds, and just all kinds of different stimuli until anything you can do that's new and different. And the reason I say this is because you can obedience train a dog for a lifetime, but you can only socialize a dog during that wet cement part of their life. I won't say only, but it's 100 times harder after that wet cement dries. It's like riding in wet cement is easy, and riding in hardened cement is very, very difficult, right? So this is the same situation. So what you are teaching your puppy is that new is not scary or bad. It is just different, and that it's okay. And it's amazing how easily this message gets across. So you want to take them to all the dog-friendly stores that you can. So Hobby Lobby, Lowe's, Home Depot, Home Goods, Marshall's, TJ Maxx, I think Nordstrom. There's so many, look it up. I want you to take them to outdoor eating cafes where they can eat and see people and hear cars go by. They need to meet old people, young people, babies, people with hair on their face. They need to meet all different colors of people and races, and they need to meet people who wear their hats forward and their hats backwards and big brim hats. They need to see you ladies wrap your head in a towel turban, because that's one of the things that dogs always whoa, 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 freak out over. They need to also see and interact with. I don't mean terrorize them with these things. Don't chase them and scare them, but just let them see them and interact. Get like a plastic grocery bag or Walmart bag, lay it on the floor, let the dog interact with it, because that's another thing that freaks dogs out. They need to be around men and women. I see lots of dogs who apparently are never around men, and it's really sad. It's just really a terrible thing. So I just encourage you to do everything you can. If you want your dog to be around water, you need to introduce them before they're 16 weeks old, I would say before they're 13 weeks old, really, just to be on the safe side. So take them in the car, put them in the buggy at different venues and places, and anywhere you can go with them, and let them, you can get a free puppuccino at Starbucks every time you go through. You can go through the drive-through, you can sit in the outdoor seating. It's just wonderful. Your dog has its mother's immunity, and it has its first set of vaccinations by the time I send it home with you. So immediately it needs to meet other dogs, other animals. It needs to be outside, as many surfaces as it can walk on: pavement, tile, grass, stone, snow, water. You know, it's already been on a lot of things here. We've done a lot, but there's a lot that we can't do because you have them one-on-one and I have too many to be able to do that. So this is going to be a great opportunity for you to make your dog an amazing dog. So that is something that I recommend so highly. Then the other last thing is Trupanion, which is the insurance, the pet insurance that I recommend. There's plenty of other good ones out there. This is just the one I recommend that I've heard great things about from other breeders. And we basically, as a breeder, if you call within 24 hours of your puppy pickup, you get a free month of Trupanion. And I sincerely hope and believe there will be nothing wrong with your dog, but God forbid it picked up parvo or something within the first month. It would be covered because you get this free month of Trupanion. So I actually require you to do this within 24 hours. I need you to do it before you leave my home for puppy pickup, is call and you'll receive that code in the bag with your other supplies, and you'll call. You don't have to give them any money, just your email address, and it will just naturally expire, you know, non-renew itself. So you don't have to call and cancel. It won't auto-renew. So it's just like leaving money on the table, not doing it. And they're a great company. So I require that you do that because that way you get that month of protection and when you have a new dog, and I think it's totally worth it and a great opportunity. So I get asked one other question, and that is, what treats do you use? This is another 5-star rated raw food, Stella and Chewy's, and this is chicken, as you see, but they have other things, but I do use the chicken in this. Meal mixers, and this is a small bag, but the big bag is like $37 a bag. It's a lot, but these are the size of them. This is, like I said, a 5-star rated raw food. It's just dehydrated. So I take this and I break it into, I mean, probably at least 14 or 15. I mean, it's just a little bit, and that works great. And that way you're not giving your dog a bunch of junky treats. You're feeding them good food when you're training and rewarding them. See? Can you see how big that is? That is, that's about the size I give them. And you see how much I have left? So they last a long time, so it's totally worth it. But you can take this and give this to them and reinforce them and feel great about what you're doing instead of feeling like you're giving them a bunch of junky treats. You're actually giving them fabulous meal mixers, and it's a very high reward treat. They love it. So anyway, that's what we use mostly for our treats. We also do use Bill and Jack training treats because they're tiny and you don't have to worry about over giving. I don't like to give them great big treats. They don't need that. It fills them up. It's not worth it. Just little things are perfect. So hopefully I've answered a lot of your questions, and I will just look forward to you getting your baby, and we will talk again soon. Thank you for tuning in.